Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on how Fixflo can help with remote working and COVID-19. My name's Jessica, and I work here on the customer success team at Fixflo. We really hope that you're all keeping safe at this moment. And thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see such a large number of you join us this morning. I'll be hosting this webinar with my colleague, Charlie.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm having some slight troubles allowing my video this morning, so please bear with me there. But thanks for the introduction, Jess. My name's Charlie. I'm the customer support team lead here at Fixflo. And just to echo Jess there, we're very much looking forward to sharing some of our kind of key snippets of wisdom here with the webinar today. We hope that you guys, of course, find this useful. And of course, I hope that you are all coping well with the current situation. I'll pass over to Jess now to go through today's agenda.
Perfect. So guys, the webinar agenda today is, first of all, I'm going to be showing you the COVID-19 questions which you can switch on for your occupiers. Then we'll be going through the Fixflo dashboard and how you can best track issues, the reminder date on issues, how to use on-hold functionality, the issue assignment. Charlie will be taking you through reports available on Fixflo to help you with remote working. And at the end of the webinar, we'll have a live Q&A.
Guys, this is, of course, your time, so we'd love to think that you guys get as much out of this as possible. So please do feel free to use the Q&A button on your Zoom taskbar at the bottom. If you could refrain from using the chat button, that would be much appreciated. Now, there are quite a few of you here today, so hopefully we'll get through as many questions as we can. But if we don't manage to answer your question, no worries at all. We will be sending a follow-up email. And if actually we haven't managed to get through to your question, please feel free to just respond to the email and let us know exactly what it was. The final thing is that we are also recording the webinar today, so keep an eye out for that email later on this afternoon with a link to the recording. And I'll now leave it with Jess to go through the first half of the webinar.
Thanks, Charlie. So the first thing I want to point out to you guys is that Fixflo is a cloud-based system. This means that you can access Fixflo from any device and also from any location. So that really should help you during this time when you're working remotely. With regards to the COVID questions, which you can switch on for occupiers, this can be done here on the left-hand side within Setup. Only your administrators will have access to Setup. So if you're not an admin, you'll need to ask one of your colleagues. And if you are an admin, you can simply click here on Setup and then click on Settings. This will bring you through to a page here where you can see the additional questions which you can ask the occupiers. If these are switched on, they will become mandatory. That means that when occupiers are reporting maintenance issues, these questions will need to be answered before they can submit the issue. You can select which questions you would like turned on. You don't have to switch them all on. And once you've ticked them, simply scroll down to the bottom and just remember to press Save Settings so that that setting saves. Guys, if these are switched on, the answers to the questions will appear on the PDF, which comes through to you guys when a new issue is reported. They will also appear on the Details tab of that issue. The answers will also go through to contractors on the email when they are instructed a job. They will also be on the Contractor app, available for contractors using the app, and also go through to the system for both landlords and contractors if they are instructed the jobs on the Next Steps tab. So guys, please remember to turn these on to keep your parties safe. Now onto the dashboard. Guys, the dashboard is the first thing you'll see when you log into Fixflo, and it really is a key feature of the Fixflo Professional and Fixflo Essential system. As you can see, it is made up of 12 panels, and it's also fully customizable. I'm going to go through how you can best track issues, and you may want to switch things up on your dashboard at this time whilst you're working remotely. So the first thing we would recommend that you have on your dashboard is your reported issues to do. This really should be your first to-do list. We also have a panel, guys, called Reported Issues, and I'm going to bring that one up for you now to show you A, how to customize the dashboard, and also B, the difference between reported issues and reported issues to do. So to add a new panel to your dashboard, you will simply need to find a blank panel on your dashboard, and you can click anywhere on that panel to create a new panel. When you click on the panel, you'll see this pop-up appear asking to select a panel. I would highly recommend, when you have some time, to flick through all of the panels available to you by using the scroll bar here on the right-hand side. There are several panels available to you, and when choosing a new panel, they are selected here on the left-hand side of the screen. The middle column will show you the layout of that panel. And on the right-hand side, you can see all issues assigned. You can see, the description of the panel. So this one is all issues assigned per user. So for example, with the layout, this layout here at the top would be a bar chart. The second one down would be a pie graph, a pie chart even, and underneath that you've got text. So it'll just give you an idea of what the layout will look like. Also, if I scroll down, you can reset your panels to default. Guys, this is what we actually recommend agents have up, and any new agents will be given the default dashboard. So if you're not happy with your dashboard, it may be an idea to reset all of your panels and kind of go from there. For now, though, I'm going to search for reported issues. Now I can see from this layout that it's a circle. This means that this will simply be a circle with a number of how many issues are at that status. So if I click there and scroll down, I can add selected here. By doing that, that panel will then populate in the location that I've asked for it to be. Now we can see here we've got our reported issues and also our reported issues to do. I personally very much like the simplicity of this layout, as it simply shows me the number of issues, for example, the number of reported issues to do. So it's very clear to me when I'm in my dashboard how many issues are at that status. So reported issues to do is in fact a relatively new panel that we've added. The difference between reported issues and reported issues to do is that your reported issues will show you all of your issues which are at the reported status. Just to let you know, with Fixflo Professional and Fixflo Essential, it allows you to do end-to-end management of a reported maintenance issue. In saying that, when the issue is reported by an occupier, it will be at the reported status, and then as the issue gets progressed, the issue will go on a little Fixflo journey and go from one issue status to the next, and it will get progressed through until it is ready to be closed, when you can then close the issue. So your reported issues, that means the occupier has reported an issue and nobody has yet taken the next step to resolving that issue. So that is all of your reported issues. Now, your reported issues to do, that will be all of your reported issues which have a reminder date of either today or in the past. Any reminder dates which have been put forward to the future will not sit in your reported issues to do. This allows you to manage your reported issues better. A good use case example could be perhaps an occupier has reported an issue that their Hoover has broken. You then may want to click into the issue, go to the Comments tab, send a comment to your occupier to say, "Thank you for reporting this issue. Please can you replace the Hoover? You have a budget of say £100. If you could provide us with the receipt, we'll reimburse you up to that amount." You would then click back to the Next Steps page. And on the Next Steps page, you would then be able to move the reminder date to the future, meaning that the issue essentially has now been sent on to the occupier without actually progressing the issue, because the issue status will still be reported, but it's now with the occupier, and they will then come back to you, and it will remind you on that reminder date. It will come back into your reported issues to do, so you can check for a comment. Comments will also be emailed to you and can also be tracked on your dashboard here with comments recently received, and also using this envelope on the top left-hand corner. Another example that you may want to use more at the moment is, for example, if I click into my reported issues to do, I can see that here, this issue was reported 1 day ago, and it's actually that a drawer's been broken. Issues which are classed as non-urgent may be pushed back during this time of COVID-19, in which case I may want to click on the issue, where you can see the reminder date sits here on the Next Steps page, and I can click on this reminder date to put this forward. As well as doing that, guys, I can also place the issue on hold. Issues placed on hold will be able to be tracked on your dashboard, which I'll show you in a moment. And we also have a report of this, which Charlie will go through with you later in the webinar. So for example, this is a non-urgent issue. I may say that actually, let's look at this again in May. Place the issue on hold. You can give an on-hold reason here. For example, and then press save. Once I've done that, you'll see that the issue status stays at reported because I haven't progressed the issue. The issue is kept on hold, and I can see clearly here that the issue's on hold. If I hover over that, it shows me the on hold reason as well. And in 15 days, this issue will come back into my reported issues to do. So if I now click back to my dashboard, reported issues to do will have gone from 2 to 1 like this. We do recommend that reported issues to do is your first to-do list. Any newly reported issues will appear in reported issues to do. So I would recommend that you don't, in fact, even have your reported issues on there, because that will just show absolutely everything, whether they're on hold or the reminder dates in the future. You want to make sure that this is the number that you're working on, and this just allows you the flexibility of putting things on hold and moving things forward. So to remove reported issues, I would simply hover over that panel where you can see there's a little X in the top right-hand corner. And if I click on that, that panel will then remove. Guys, with your dashboard, keep it simple and make sure that you understand the information coming out at you. Just to show you, these are my issues on hold. So as mentioned before, these can all be tracked on your dashboard. And I would simply click on this little I to be able to view all. Issues on hold, the issues on hold dashboard can only be viewed in this text form. And I can click on view all to then go through to a list of these issues. Guys, your second to-do list on your dashboard should be your issues requiring action. Issues requiring action could mean one of two things. The first thing it would mean is that the issue status naturally lies with you as the agent to take the next step. So good examples of this would be, for example, reported issues, issues where quotes have come back from contractors and you now need to either send them on to the landlord for approval, send them on to an external user for approval, or award the job, and also perhaps issues which need closing. They are just 3 examples of issues which naturally lie with you as the agent to take the next step. So all of those issues will sit in your issues requiring action. The other side of issues requiring action are the issues where the reminder date are now either today's date or again in the past. So for example, if there's a reported issue and you progress this on to, say, a contractor and you instruct the works to them, the issue status will naturally update from reported to job awarded, awaiting appointment date. The reminder date will automatically update as you progress an issue from one issue status to the next. Say, for example, the issue reminder date updates to 3 days' time. If after 3 days the contractor has not got back to you and has not set a date, the reminder date will come around and the issue will pull back into your issues requiring action. Guys, this means that absolutely nothing can slip through the cracks. So that's why it's so important it's your second to-do list. It allows you to keep on top of issues that aren't being progressed by the parties, which should be, and also keep on top of those issues where it's your turn to progress them. When I click into issues requiring action, it will take me through to all of those 317 results. Now, just to let you know, there's a little sort button within here. So if I click on sort, you can see that this is sorted, for example, by status changed, and also these are in an ascending order. So I can change how these are sorted and by which order as well. So it is up to you to kind of choose what works for you. So for example, you can sort this by priority, raised date, status change, and also action date. At the moment, you may want to, for example, sort this by priority and look at your ascending list. And these are the issues that you may want to work through first and foremost, as these are your urgent issues. Another thing you may want to do as well is, for example, sort this by descending, where you can, for example, go to a non-urgent job, for example, a washing machine, and you could click on the reminder date where you could in fact move this forward and in fact put it on hold as well if you wish to, due to COVID-19. So they might just be things that you want to do, and it's really important that you've sorted the issues the way you want them to be sorted. Guys, there are a few other panels that you may want to add during this time. So if I scroll down where I have two blank panels side by side, this is really mainly, I guess, for managers. You can, for example, view all of the issues to do and all of the issues assigned to your users, so agents on the system. So, for example, again, if I click to add a new panel, I would suggest that you click on users. So we have segmented panels into different kind of groups for you here on the left-hand side. And if I click on users, the ones that I think will be helpful are all issues assigned per user, which you can see can be viewed either as a bar chart or a pie chart. And you've also got here issues to do per user. The difference between issues to do per user and all issues assigned per user is all issues assigned per user are the issues which are open per user, and all issues to do per user are issues which require their action. For example, again, the issue either lies with them or the reminder date has come around. So, for example, if I add here all issues assigned per user as a bar chart, and then I add another panel and again go to users and choose all issues to do per user as a pie graph, you can here see the difference. So you can select whether pie charts work for you better or bar graphs do. It's completely up to you. However, here you can, for example, see all of your users either in bars or divided up as a pie chart, and you can hover over each color, which will show you which user that is and how many issues they have either obviously assigned to them or to do per user. So here, for example, I can see that the blue is really large in comparison to the other ones. So for example, here I can see that Jess has 183 issues assigned to her. And out of those issues assigned, she's actually got 181 issues to do per user. If you notice that their issues are really high and they've got a lot of issues outstanding, and actually that a lot of them are issues to do, it could even, guys, be a training issue where they actually maybe need some training on the dashboard and how they can best work through their issues. So this may be something that you want to help them with. As Charlie mentioned before, we are recording this webinar and we will be sending a recording of this out to you all by the end of play today. So you could always send them a recording of this webinar to go through this dashboard with them. And we also have a video available of this dashboard, which is available on our help site, which we'll also be linking out to you later. You just simply need to go to the video library where you'll be able to find a video on the dashboard. Guys, I just want to mention as well, you can filter out exactly what you're viewing on your dashboard. So for example, here, if we cast our eyes now to issues requiring action, you can see on the top right-hand corner, we have got 3 little people, a globe, and then 3 little dots. If I hover over the dashboard panel, you will see that those 3 symbols jet out towards the left-hand side and actually double to 6. So the first thing I want to show you here is the people. That is showing you exactly whose issues you are viewing. So at this time, you may want to change whose issues you're viewing. For example, if you're dealing with other people's issues. So here, for example, the 3 people, that represents all, so everybody's issues. I can also break this down to my properties, my issues, including unassigned, my only, so not unassigned, and also if you've set teams up, teams will sit here as well. So you can really filter those out. And guys, if you are using Fixflo Professional, you will be able to manage all of your planned maintenance on the system. So you will then have access to this globe, which will allow you to filter your issues out by all issues, or just your reactive issues, or just your planned issues as well. Planned maintenance sits here on the left-hand side, and it allows you to manage all of your planned works, for example, EPCs, gas safeties, etc. It's a really good system which allows you to set up recurring events. So please have a look at that if you've got planned maintenance, if you've got Fixflo Professional, and if you have Fixflo Essential and you don't have planned maintenance, please let us know and we'd be happy to talk to you about changing to Fixflo Professional. So guys, just be aware you can filter these out. Also guys, the last thing that I'm going to talk to you about before I pass over to Charlie is issue assignment. So if you click on issues here on the left-hand side of the screen and click on issue search, here you can bulk reassign issues from one agent to another. It might be something you want to do, for example, if unfortunately someone's had to be furloughed or anything like that at the moment. So this is where you can search all of your, as you can see, these are your open issues. I can change this as well using this drop down to show all my open and closed issues or just my closed. And if I click here on this little drop down, this will open up a number of different filters for me. To reassign issues from one agent to another, all I would need to do is go to assigned to agent, where you can see this is any, so this is all of your agents. I could, for example, choose a particular agent, such as say, George, and scroll down. And then press search, where I can see all of the issues appear. So he's got 183 issues. Sorry, earlier I think I changed the name from Jess to George and it hasn't quite updated on the dashboard. I think that may take a few minutes, so I do apologize for the confusion there. But once I've got all of their issues up here, you can see I can click here on options, where I can choose to bulk reassign issues. So if George, for example, was getting furloughed, I would click on bulk reassign issues, where you can see I can choose all of the results. I could then click here on bulk reassign issues, where I could reassign these to a different agent or a different team, and I can even choose unassigned as well if I just want to unassign them and start again. So this just allows you the flexibility of doing that. And then remember, guys, just to press save. Fantastic, guys. So I've just gone over the dashboard with you. I hope this has been helpful and given you a few more ideas of how you may use the dashboard differently. Please keep your questions coming in. And now I'm going to pass over to my colleague, Charlie. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jessica. I hope you've all found that super useful. Jess, if you could just cancel your screen share, just so it will enable me to share mine as well, that would be amazing. So as per the agenda, I have been tasked with going through reports with you all this morning. Bear with me 2 seconds while I just try and share my screen. Do apologize, technical issues. Here we go. Awesome. So you should all be able to see my screen now. Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Jessica. So reports. Reports are available for all agent users. So that's regardless of the user role permissions that you have in your system. And they are available on the left-hand side here. I actually think reports are a function on Fixflo that aren't quite used as much to their capacity as they should be. So if you have never clicked through these different reports, I would highly recommend later on today that you take a look at all the different reports we have available. Please note this page is paginated, so we do have a second page. So by all means, please flick through, and have a quick look at what you may find useful. For the purpose of today's session, I'm going to go through 5 different reports with you. The first few are actually aimed more towards managers to be able to help really track what all of your staff are doing and the actions that they're taking while everybody is working remotely during this period. However, if you're not a manager, no problem at all. Please stick with me because actually you may find these reports quite useful as well. Main purpose being you could use them to kind of squash down your own numbers and work on improving your own KPIs that are in place. So the first 2 reports I'm going to go through with you this morning have actually been very recently added by the development team here at Fixflo over the last couple of weeks. And they're what we call count of reports. So if you quite simply use the search bar at the top and pop in the 2 words count of, we're going to go through these top 2 reports here. So first of all, the count of comments sent per agent. So as Jessica was saying, comments are of course a key feature of both Fixflo Professional and Essentials. And we highly recommend that yourself and all of your agents are using the comments tab within each particular maintenance issue. If I click into this report, I can see a breakdown, or more of a volume number, of the comments that have been sent per agent within the date range that I have specified. I'm also given a last online field, which again, as a manager, really enables me the ability to knuckle down and identify when my staff are online and active. Just to let you know, with regards to this particular field here, the system is kind of polled and updated every 7 minutes, and the browser tab with Fixflo needs to be actively used for this to kind of refresh. When I say actively used, I mean reloading the paging, clicking buttons, kind of progressing issues, etc. So if, for example, I'm feeling a little cheeky and I log into Fixflo in the morning, I open up that tab and then I change to another tab and browse Facebook for 2 hours, I will be shown as last online 2 hours ago. With a lot of the Fixflo reports, the date range is completely customizable. So for example, during this period, it may well be a nice idea to run this report showing the data for the current week. And if I hit apply, I can, for example, at any point, download this to a CSV file. CSV meaning Excel. Similarly, we've also got a count of status changes per agent report. So as Jessica was saying, within Fixflo, this is both professional and essentials, maintenance issues will go through various different issue statuses. And again, this is another really useful way of managers, or actually all staff members, seeing how many issue status changes they have made within the current time period. So again, for example, I would definitely suggest amending the time period to show the current week. And if you hit apply, you're given the same breakdown of all the different status change volumes made by your agents within that week. Next to the apply button here, we've also got a more options button. If we click this open, it enables us to schedule this report to send periodically to ourselves, as well as amend a few different sections as desired. So again, for example, I think a nice idea during this remote working period would actually be to send this report to yourself, maybe towards the end of the week. What you can do is show the date range for the current week. And if maybe I sent this to myself on a Friday at around 4 p.m, I can then assess that data and then take it with me to any Monday morning meetings that you may have and go through with the team some of the results that have been applied. And actually from there, you could set various KPIs or maybe some service level agreements if you want to really kind of knuckle down on certain things. If I schedule this report to send to myself by hitting save, it will automatically, at the time specified, send an email to the agent profile that you are logged in as. And on that email, there will be a link to download this actual report. You can also add anybody else into CC, and you can also send the reports to the central email address as well, if desired. Alternatively, if you ever wanted to, you can save and ask the system to send the report through to you now as well. But like I mentioned, you're always able to download the report as and when desired via the CSV button here. The third kind of management report that I wanted to go through with you today is a report that highlights the time to first action. The title of it is Issues, Time to First Action. And again, if I click into it, I am able to amend the date range as desired. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to keep it as the current month. And again, this gives us a really good indication of what's been going on within my Fixflo system and the time maybe it's taken my staff to actually take actions on particular maintenance issues. Now, when I use the phrase time to first action, the first action is with regards to any issues that have been reported into my Fixflo system and the time it's taken me to do something with that reported issue. There are two types of first actions that we're referring to here, either a status change or an agent comment on the issue. So similar to what Jessica was speaking about earlier on the dashboard, for example, if an issue comes in that you consider not to be urgent and actually during COVID-19, you decide that you're not going to complete the works on this issue, You should be sending a quick comment to the occupier to let them know of the fact, moving the reminder date forward and placing the issue on hold. And you can track that time to first action using this nice and easy report here. So again, I think this is a really super useful one for any managers who are using the Fixflo system. You can ask Fixflo to email this report to you regularly. You can't, I'm afraid, filter the results within Fixflo. However, once you get the emailed report through to you, you can, of course, apply various filters within Excel. And it may well be a nice idea to take this report with you through to one-on-one meetings with staff members. You can always filter by the time to first action descending so that you have the largest volume at the top, and you can really knuckle down on why it's taken yourself or your staff members so long to take a first action on those reported issues. So that's definitely a really useful one for both managers and actually staff members. Again, it gives you a kind of good indication of how fast you're reacting to maintenance problems. And you can, of course, filter out if you're using Fixflo Professional, whether the issue itself is planned maintenance or not. The penultimate report I wanted to go through with you this morning is a bit of a breakdown of issues by age. So there's a couple of actually things here, but we'll jump into issues by age per agent. So this report does look a little bit confusing when you first jump into it, I won't lie. However, I will explain exactly what it all refers to here. So if we take my colleague Homer as an example, if we take a look at this first column here, we can see total open issues. The number outside of the brackets are his open issues, and the number inside of the bracket is on top of this number, and it's any issues that are on hold. So I can see very quickly here that Homer has 14 open issues within his Fixflo account. And alongside this, I'm given a complete breakdown on the age of all these issues. Ideally, we want to see the vast majority of our issues actually in these kind of first few options here, because we want to be progressing maintenance issues and making sure we're closing them within the appropriate timescale. What you don't really want to see is this number here on the right-hand side outside of the bracket being large, because that means there are open issues on Homer's system that are not on hold, that actually have been open for over 120 days. Now, there could be a couple of things here. Obviously, during COVID-19, there may well be the case that some of your issues do remain open within your Fixflo account. However, this could be just a training issue. Following on from Jess's advice, I would highly recommend that you ensure that everybody within your company knows how to use the on-hold functionality, because what we really want to see here is any numbers that do have to be in this particular bracket to be actually held within the brackets itself. Alternatively, it could just be another type of training issue in that these maintenance problems have actually been completed. We just need to make sure that we are also closing them down as well. So again, it could be a variety of reasons. So I guess to some extent, take this particular report with a pinch of salt, but it is a super useful one to keep on top of and keep an eye on. Again, you can, of course, use the More Options button to send this to yourself. And just while I'm here, actually, there is a similar one titled Issued by Status per Agent, which again, you can see that kind of breakdown. So for example, I scroll all the way over, I can see various different features here. And if I've got a large proportion of numbers in the job completed ready for closure, and one of my agents maybe isn't closing down the jobs, it could be a good opportunity for me just to make sure that they're doing so. So Charlie, I definitely need to have a word with. The final report that I'm going to run through with you today before we actually jump into the Q&A really coincides with what Jessica was saying with regards to our on-hold functionality. So as well as being able to track issues on hold through the dashboard and through issue search, you can, of course, schedule a report to come through to yourselves with regards to issues on hold. Now, this report you cannot filter, I'm afraid. So it's just going to show all issues on hold. It gives you a complete breakdown of what exactly is going on. So it's got obviously the issue ID, the number of days that the issue has been on hold, and the on hold reason. So again, this is another one that I would highly recommend that you schedule to send, for example, on the 1st of every month. Make sure you hit save, obviously. And once you've done that, you can actually filter it as desired, whether that be per agent or by the volume of days on hold, and really knuckle down between yourselves and other staff members why these issues are on hold and whether there's anything you can do to actually complete them. Again, during COVID-19, issues will be kept on hold, but this is more just about making sure that no maintenance problems fall through the crack and that you are staying on top of any particular maintenance problems that are on hold, and actually that you are keeping all of the relevant parties, such as landlords and occupiers, in the loop as well. So this one just really coincides with what Jessica was saying with regards to the on-hold functionality, and it's just another kind of net to ensure that nothing is falling through the cracks at all. So that's just a very brief outline of reports from myself. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there are various reports that are available, so please do come to the reports option and take a look at these. However, that is pretty much it from the webinar from myself and Jessica. Just a few quick points. Again, I do apologize that my camera wasn't working. I'm not sure exactly why that was, but thankfully I didn't have to show you all my bedroom. Just a few quick points from us. We will send a quick email out, hopefully later on this afternoon, with a link to the recording of today's webinar. So please keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, if there is anything else that you need, please feel free to refer to help.fixflo.com, which you can see at the bottom right-hand side of your screen here, for any particular questions. And if you can't find any answers there, then we are always contactable at support@fixflo.com as well. Alternatively, just hit reply to the email that we send to you and it will come back through to us. However, we will now jump into the Q&A. I can see that 5 questions have come through so far, which is amazing. Jessica and I will kind of share these out between us. And bear with me 2 seconds while I just grab a quick glass of water and we'll go through the first question.
Perfect. So the first question was from Mark Dan, who's actually said, ignore my question before it has been answered. So that was just regarding viewing team members in the dashboard. So I'm really glad that you felt that that was answered, Mark. So perfect. Thanks for that. The second question that's come through is, hi, when clicking view all on dashboard, does this show only my issues or other colleagues? So thank you so much for that question. Bear with me 1 second. Charlie, are you happy to answer that one?
Yeah, sure
your
thing.
Screen?
Absolutely. So I believe that came through from Helicia. Thanks for the question. That will completely depend on how you have the dashboard panel itself filtered. So for example, Jessica was going through reported issues to do. At the moment, my particular dashboard filter here is set to all. So this, if I click view all, will show me all of those 4 issues, regardless of who they are assigned to. However, if I were to, for example, change this to my only, which will show the 1, again, if I click view all here, it is going to show me just that one particular issue in the status of reported because it is assigned to me. So I hope that makes sense, that it completely depends on how the dashboard panel itself is filtered.
Perfect. Co-pilot training will be great in a webinar. Perfect. That's really good feedback, guys. If there are any other webinars that you think would be helpful during this time, we are actually discussing doing more of these one-off ones. So any others that you think would be good, thank you for that, Jacques. We will definitely be looking at doing more of those kind of one-off ones, especially during this time where people actually have time for the training.
Awesome. The next question has come in from Carol, and it says, is it necessary for closed issues to have invoices submitted, as they may have been sent by email from the contractor? A good question, Carol. Nope. It depends on, again, the setting that you have within your Fixflo account. You can amend the contractor invoice options via setup, and this is for administrators only. Settings. And if I scroll down here, I have a general setting with my contractor invoice options. So for example, you could state, if maybe you have a large agency and all of your contractors are on your payroll, you could actually state that no invoice is required on any jobs, and you can amend this as desired. But actually, a particular invoice document is not required on every particular maintenance issue unless you state so. Hope that makes sense.
Cool. The next question is from Chris Johnson. Is there a way to run a report on those issues raised where a tenant has indicated they have COVID-19 symptoms? This is a really good question, Chris. Unfortunately not. However, this is something we can put forward to our developers. So any feedback, which you think, any feedback from you guys where you think actually this would add value, especially during this time, please let us know. You can email us, support@fixflo.com. We can't promise everything will end up on Fixflo. However, that is a good idea. We'll definitely run it forward to developers. In the meantime, though, what would be a good workaround for this would be using the on hold report, as long as you've put the on hold reason to be COVID-19 symptoms. As Charlie mentioned, you can export this to an Excel document where you could, for example, filter through and have just your COVID-19 symptom reason. So it would be a good workaround, but that's something we'll definitely put forward to the developers.
And just to add to that one, the team are looking at extra kind of iterations on the COVID-19 feature. We are releasing a couple of new things with that as well, hopefully by the end of this week. So we are really working on making sure that this is super clear for all of our clients and actually as useful as possible for you. So yeah, just to echo what Jess said, we love hearing from our clients in terms of what you love about the system, but also what you think could be improved. So please do feel free to always send us any kind of feature requests through to support@fixflo.com. Again, like Jess said, we do get quite a few, so we can't promise everything will get made, but we would love to try and accommodate as much as possible. The next question is coming from Jordan. The report which outlines when the last comments that were made by the agent, does this only reference the comments made by that particular agent or anyone who has commented on that agent's assigned issue? Good question, Jordan. So the report which I was running through, count of comments, that only outlines comments that have been sent by that particular agent. And that can be a comment to, for example, a colleague. It could be a comment to the landlord, contractor, etc. It does not include private notes, and it does not include anyone who has commented on that agent's assigned issue. So if I was assigned to if Jess had the assigned issue and I sent a comment on that issue, the count of comments would increase on my user profile because it's linked to whoever is logged in. Kind of roundabout way of answering that, but I hope that makes sense.
Perfect. Next question from Carol. I've had a contractor who sent a quotation added on Fixflo. I gave the go ahead, but he had not completed the details of the quote. So the status had not moved on, but still shows that we are waiting for quotes. Thank you for that, Carol. So with regards to moving an issue from one status to the next, for example, saying that the quote's been given, that will need to be completed. So either the contractor will need to go into Fixflo, either on the app or on the actual desktop, and finish the quote, or you can in fact do that for them. Charlie, I don't know whether you can go into, you're in an issue at the moment.
Yep.
Where if Charlie clicks onto the contractor where it says waiting for contractor and scrolls down, you can see that here you can actually on their behalf provide the quote for them. We do advise that you ask your other parties to actually complete actions on their behalf, because you may otherwise end up in a situation where they end up calling you every time or emailing through saying, oh, this is my quote, please can you add that to Fixflo? It does make a lot more sense if every party is doing their bit. However, as a one-off, you could always say, I'll just complete this for you, especially if it's an issue that you really want to get progressed. So until either you've done that on their behalf or they've done that, the issue will not move from one issue status to the next.
Awesome, good question. Next question's come in that says, it's from an anonymous attendee. It says, issues requiring action by status panel. Please, can you go through this? Thanks. No problem at all. So if I jump back to my dashboard here. So Jessica was talking regarding the dashboard a lot about the importance of the reminder date. And if the reminder date is in the red, i.e. it falls today or in the past, the issue will therefore require the agent's action once again. So I can see that at the moment, I'm clearly a bit of a poor property manager. I have a fairly large volume of numbers that require my action. Now this 215 can look a little bit daunting. So we've also got an issues requiring action by status panel. So this essentially is a complete breakdown of that 215 number. This panel, or grid as I like to call it, is completely interactive. So you can hover over the different statuses and see exactly what they all refer to. So actually, I know that of those 215 issues, and that seems like a lot, 46 of them, the jobs are being completed, and myself or one of my colleagues just need to close the maintenance issue down. So it's really enables you to kind of break down the large volume of numbers into various different smaller tasks, and you can actually find that a lot more easy to manage as well. So it's just a breakdown of this volume here. I hope that makes sense, anonymous attendee. Jess, anything to add there?
Just to add to that, you will get used to the issue statuses as you use Fixflo more and more. So this will become kind of second nature, where you'll see, for example, the number 64, and you'll know what that relates to. And this can also be viewed as a pie chart or also a bar graph as well. We simply have this example up as this grid, as Charlie calls it, and so do I actually. But this is a layout that we like, but you can view it in different ways as well if you prefer. As Charlie mentions, the number 215 is quite overwhelming, but so we have split it out like that. And the last question that's come through so far is from Ellie. Guys, feel free to keep getting your questions through if you wish. We are happy to stay on till around 12 o'clock, so that's no problem at all if you're happy to stay on. Ellie, is there a way of reporting an issue without an email? So you can report maintenance issues on behalf of occupiers as well. That can be done. However, the email address is what makes somebody unique on Fixflo. You can report a maintenance issue without an occupier, which means that there's nobody attached to the issue. But if you are attaching an occupier to the issue, then they must have an email address. There is no way of attaching an occupier without an email address. Whether you make that a dummy email address or not, that's completely up to you. But if not, you can report it without an occupier. To do so, as Charlie was just showing, if you click on issues on, create issue on the left-hand side of the screen, the second option down here is to report a maintenance issue without reporting occupier. It means that when you're on the next steps tab of an issue, there will be no occupier added to the next steps tab, showing everybody currently involved with an issue. You could also click into properties, find the property, click on the actions tab at the top, the actions button even, and then report an issue there without an occupier. So there are several ways to do it. But if you're going to attach an occupier, there must be an email address.
One thing just to add there, actually, Ellie, we have been working on a feature that enables occupiers or people in general to report maintenance issues via the phone instead of via your unique Fixflo URL. If they are doing this, they would not need to enter an email address. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more about this feature, I'd be happy to kind of run you through it in a bit more detail. There are kind of obviously pros to it with regards to possibly people that don't have access to the internet or people who don't have email addresses. It's actually quite a good secondary reporting tool. Primarily, you would prefer to have all of your issues reported through your URL because it really enables you to get a lot of information such as photographs and videos when reporting. However, we have worked on a kind of phone reporting tool. So please shoot us an email to support@fixflo.com. And if you just aim that towards myself, my name's Charlie, I'd be happy to go through in a bit more detail how that tool works.
Thank you, Charlie, for adding on to that.
No problem.
Cool. So contractor, option to invite contractor to register on site by only completing the email address. Not sure fully. Do you understand that one, Charlie?
Sorry, Jack. That one's a bit lost on me. Option to invite the contractor to register on site by only completing the email address. Jack, you may want to explain that one a bit more detail. I'm afraid that's not quite understood. I think you're referring to creating a new contractor profile and possibly just entering the email address. We do require both the email address and company name if you are registering new contractor profiles. I'm going to jump to Luke's question. Is there any plans to bring out a dedicated app for phones for managers and tenants? Good question, Luke. We were actually discussing this yesterday, weren't we, Jessica? Regarding applications for either occupiers or managers. A couple of things here, I guess. So for tenants, we'll start off with, there's definitely some problems around making the app white label, i.e. it having your correct URL and also your correct logo at the front of it. And actually, it's just a bit of an extra step for tenants to first of all search for your company name and then actually report their maintenance issue. So there are currently no plans for an occupier app. We actually think that the web app kind of encouragement to download your Fixflo account as a web app or bookmark on a smartphone is kind of just as good and as smooth a process as having a dedicated app. And with regards to managers or kind of agents, it's a massive piece of work, essentially. There's so many workflows available in Fixflo. There's so many different things that you can do. At the moment, it could be an option. I definitely don't want to commit to anything, but it's a very, very large piece of work for the team to do, and it's not a priority for them as we currently stand.
Just to add to that slightly as well, promoting the system to your occupiers is a really big thing. It's really important that you do it. Part of the promotion, our promotion options, we've got text your occupiers, which is option 8. This is very easily done and will give you free credits. So you just have to click to request credits there, and then you can click on get texting now. When you text your occupiers, they will receive your URL as part of the text. If they then receive that text message and they click on the URL, it will take them straight through to your Fixflo system on their phone. So it will be the occupier side of your system on their phone. When they're taken through to that, it will prompt them to download this as a bookmark, which essentially creates a web app on their phone, which is free and takes up absolutely no space on their phone, which is almost like an app. You just can't download it from the App Store or the Play Store. They just have to go onto your URL to essentially bookmark that, and it's then almost a constant reminder of Fixflo as well. So that can be super helpful and might be something you want to do. If you do want to text your occupiers, simply log into Fixflo, click on promote, click on option 8, text your occupiers, where you can request credits, and then we'll give you some credits. So at the moment you can see Charlie's credit balance is 0, but you can then change your text and enter the numbers below. Once you change the text, remember to press save, guys. If you don't save it and you type a number in and then press send, the text won't actually save as the new message. And just remember your characters remaining as well. So you've obviously got a character allowance on texts as well. But that might be a really good thing to do in terms of an app, essentially. It's like a workaround.
Perfect. Thank you, Jess. Jacques asked a question on reporting issues on block management. Jacques, we've not got our block management test systems up at the moment, so that's definitely a question to run through kind of outside of this particular webinar, I would suggest. So I'm happy to reach out to you. We can go through your questions there.
Yeah. 100%.
Lisa, hi Lisa, I hope you're well. We have had numerous tenants who are not paying their rent due to COVID-19. Is there any way there could be a pop-up when closing the job, so when we process the invoice, we know there may be a problem with payment? First of all, obviously, completely appreciate that these are difficult times, so I hope you are well and managing to get that rent from your occupiers. One thing I can show you very quickly, actually, is we've actually got a useful, if I can find it, document. COVID-19 document attachment guide. We've actually got a useful template that you could send out if you wanted to your occupiers, which is a bit of a rent payment kind of letter regarding COVID-19 and ensuring that actually your tenants are paying their rent, because obviously they still have the legal obligation to do so. So please feel free to come and check that out. It's a Word document that you can use and edit as desired. It's been created by our marketing team, but obviously with kind of best intentions and best practice with regards to guidelines at the moment. So if my computer allows me, it will open it, but do come and check that out. But really good feature request, Lisa. I think I understand exactly what you're saying with regards to that. Ideally, there'd be a way of tagging some of your properties or some of your occupiers who are refusing to pay rent, so that when you're then processing the invoice, you kind of have that pop up in place. Trouble there being to some extent that Fixflo isn't a kind of accounting package by any means, and we don't intend to be. So there wouldn't really be a process in terms of when you're actually processing the invoice itself. But nonetheless, it's definitely an insight that we'll pass over to the development team and see if they get back to us on whether that's something that we can look at doing.
Yeah, Charlie, I've noted that one down. I agree. I think it's a really good thing we could add, and we'll see whether it's something that's possible even to be able to track the invoices that you might have problems with at certain properties, something like that, for sure. Charlie, I'm even wondering if tags would work for that, for like properties where people have stopped paying rent.
Yeah, tagging either the property profile or the occupier profile.
Do you want to quickly explain that you can tag property? I'm just wondering if that would help, because then you'd have a list of.
Yeah, I mean, sure thing.
Really
so
if it would.
If you wanted to, Lisa, you can apply tags to property profiles. So for example, if I click into our profile here for Fixflo, you can apply this with a tag, for example, whatever it may be, but occupiers refusing to pay, or let's just put rent issues. And if I hit save there, at the moment, we are looking at kind of iterating this feature and making the use of tags a lot more beneficial. So for example, we are working on features with regards to Copilot and property tags so that you can actually automate certain things with regards to certain tags. That is currently live. So if you wanted to, for example, tag all of the properties that you have rent issues with at the moment, you could apply a Copilot rule if you so wish to, so that when maintenance problems are raised at that particular property, either yourself or the occupiers are notified. Again, I'd also suggest amending the property notes so that when the issue is raised, you see that on the next steps tab straight away, so that you're kind of aware that there could be problems processing this particular invoice like you suggested. However, we will, of course, input and forward your suggestions through to the development team as well. So I think it's a really good one.
Thank you for that, Charlie. Sorry, just something that came to my mind. Yeah, Jacques, so we've got your questions on here regarding the block management one. As Charlie said, that's for outside of this this webinar. So if you could please just drop us an email, we'll be happy to get back to you on that one. And regarding contractors, when you complete their profile, so when you add a new contractor, as Charlie mentioned earlier, you would click on people, contractors, and you would click on add new contractor at the top. You must include a company name and you must include an email address as well. Everything else, I believe, is optional. And then they will receive a welcome email. So yeah, so that was what you would need for that. So somebody's asked, is there a report to show tags? I believe the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can click on, I believe, properties. And then where it says search property address, there's a little drop down here. So these drop down filters are available a lot of the time when you're searching for things. They can really help you narrow things down. And then here where it says tag, you'd be able to select a tag. So you simply just start typing in what you've called the tag, press search, and you would then be able to come up with a report of those properties, where you could then click on options, which would allow you to export all the information out to a CSV, which is an Excel document, or also a PDF. So we don't have reports as such. Tags is actually, as Charlie mentioned, really, really new, and we are looking to utilize it more. But at the moment, it's available for those properties. So there's no reports within reports, but you can create your own report.
Just quickly jumping back to Jacques' question, I believe it may have been about capturing more information from that contractor. So once you create them as a new user, like Jessica said, they will get a welcome email, and either yourself or them can then come into their profile. They can do it via clicking their name at the top and view profile, and they can add in various different company details, and actually we'd encourage them to do so. For example, things like bank account sort code if they're going to be creating invoices within Fixflo, or they can amend various different things within their system as well. So in terms of capturing all that information, Jacques, either you as the agent can do it, or you can actually encourage your contractors to do it as well.
I believe we're also looking at ways of maximizing that, and when the welcome email goes out or when they first log in, like showing them this, but that isn't there yet. It's just something we're discussing at the moment.
Awesome. Well, that's been a really good hour. Thank you all very much for your time and questions this morning. Definitely hope that that's been useful for you. 100% keep an eye out for the email from Jessica later on this afternoon. And by all means, do check out help.fixflo.com if you have any questions in the meantime. But other than that, we'd just like to thank you very much for your time. Jess, have you got anything to add before we end the webinar?
No, it's just been great to see so many of you here this morning. We really hope that you're all staying well, staying safe. And yeah, I hope this has been helpful, and just look out for the email. If you've got any other suggestions or think any other webinars, like one-off webinars like this would be helpful, like for example, Jacques mentioned about Copilot, we'd really love to hear your opinions on that. Let us know. We can't promise everything, but we'll do our best for sure to add what we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much for your time today.
Thanks,
have a
guys.
lovely day, everyone, and keep safe.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.